can be no peace without justice. It is not only true in areas of this world with armed conflict, it is also true in our society. Why should we accept injustices? Ever. Some injustices are so rooted in our society, we have become completely blind to them and tend to think that there's nothing that we can do about them. And if there were, well, that somebody else would figure it out for us. Well, if everyone thinks this way, how are we ever going to progress? I began my quest for justice at a very young age, when our family circumstances changed drastically because of a terrible thing called war. It was 1975, I was only 7 years old, and too young to understand how what seemed to be only sectarian tensions turned into a full-scale civil war that lasted more than 15 years in Lebanon. It is at that time that I first realized how a powerful group of individuals could have a say on the lives of millions of people, how they were going to live, where they were going to live, were they even going to live. I will not get into the details of one of the most complex conflicts of modern history. It is also one of the most covered by the media worldwide. But let's just say that, like in any conflict, it is the civilian population who suffered the most and had the least to say. A handful of decision makers had full control and brought the country to its knees. We used to hear about airstrikes, dead, wounded, invasions, withdrawals, change of allegiance, betrayals, end of a ceasefire. These were the words that we heard the most during our childhood, not amusement parks, picnics, or birthday parties. The war lasted more than 15 years and ended at the end of 1990, resulting in massive loss of human life and infrastructure while devastating the country's economy. It is estimated that 150,000 people were killed and another 200,000 wounded. Nearly 1 million civilians were displaced by the war, and some never returned. To this day, Lebanon's political system continues to be divided along sectarian lines. During that time, the little girl who already had a very strong understanding of the difference between wrong and right, who was forming her own set of beliefs and values, was beginning to build up anger against these adults who were behaving in such disappointing and erratic ways. As I was growing up, I started observing some injustices around me, and some still follow me to this day. The first thing that hit me at the time was the violence and discrimination against the hired help. In Lebanon, most, not to say all families, from middle to upper class, have one or more maids, usually from either the Philippines or Sri Lanka. These women would spend years in Lebanon working every hour of every day. They would send most of their wages to care for an aging mother, a child, a family member in need back home. Their unbelievable sense of sacrifice had about the same magnitude as the selfish sense of entitlement that the families they were working for demonstrated. Every family member, even the youngest child, behaved as if that woman was their property. Not a property that you would cherish or protect. No, a property that you would use and abuse. Some of these women were raped, beaten, had their passports confiscated, and some ended up enrolled in modern-day slavery. How could these bosses think that any human deserved to have their rights taken away? The right to a decent life, to dignity, to building a future, to getting a day off once in a while, to traveling back home to see those very people they were making all those sacrifices for. Instead, they were only left serving one family at the cost of their freedom and physical and mental health. As I was maturing, I continued observing around me other injustices, and what I noticed was that those who were the most discriminated against in the society were women. A Lebanese woman cannot give the Lebanese citizenship to her foreign husband or children, but a Lebanese man can, of course. While a woman will be arrested and put in prison for a period ranging between 2 months and 2 years if she commits adultery only once, her male partner in the same act is not arrested unless he performs the act in his marital home with a woman who is his permanent mistress and has had written correspondence with that woman, and the correspondence is found, of course. Now, if all those points are miraculously met, his imprisonment period will still be only half of the woman's. These are only some examples. While I was pondering what seemed to be, in my opinion, nothing but sheer madness, I started having a distant dream that in the Western civilization, all notions of unfair treatment of women, inequality, or injustice would be banished. I was convinced, when I arrived in a beautiful and peaceful land called Canada, that the young feminist that was stemming in me would finally be relieved and have no more battles to fight. I quickly realized that my view was way too idealistic. And what was closer to the truth was 8 out of 10 victims of violent crimes are women. Worldwide, more than 1 out of 3 women have experienced physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Those who are supposed to love, protect, and cherish these women, their intimate partners, commit 38% of their murders. The United Nations declared that violence against women and girls is a problem of pandemic proportions. I felt once again so helpless, but I decided to take the negative energy, the negative feelings, and the anger that was bottled up in me during all those years of war and channel my energy in a positive fashion to help make a difference in the lives of women who had nothing left but a glimpse of hope. For the past 15 years and until this day, I have been heavily involved on boards and committees of 3 different women's shelters who cater to the needs of women ranging from those battling addictions and homelessness to those who need our support for job hunting skills and housing. Many of these women are running away from domestic violence, trying to put their life back on track, rebuilding themselves both physically and emotionally. Our support allows these women to come out of their isolation, regain their children's custody, and find stability and balance in their lives. What I have discovered in the process is that many of these women have actually completed high school. Some even went to university and all the way to the master's level. Regardless of socioeconomic status, nobody is immune. In parallel to all this, my own insertion in the Quebec society was going wonderfully well. I very quickly climbed the ladder in the corporate world and discovered that even women who seem to be powerful and have it all were also discriminated against. Although they compose 52% of the population, only 5% of women are CEOs, and only 15.9% sit on boards. These statistics are alarming, and it is everyone's responsibility, both men and women, to make a change. Not only because it is the ethical thing to do, but because companies with a greater number of women at the executive level or on the boards tend to perform better financially. There's actually nothing more powerful than men and women who put their brains and visions together to achieve results. No matter the age, origin, occupation, or education, all women are impacted by the gender wage gap and earn an average 72 cents for every dollar earned by men. In the US, the top 2 highest-paid male CEOs make more than the top 10 highest-paid female CEOs put together. A few people realize the magnitude of the gender wage gap, and many think that at least at the start line, everyone is equal. Well, even that is false. Male dishwashers make an average 20% more than female dishwashers. Now, can someone explain that to me? Yet, I regularly get told that it should stop talking about the gender equality issue, that it's a waste of time because we've already reached equality, that men and women have the same chances in life, and that I'm completely outdated. These people tell me I should get with the program and look around me. Women are strong, powerful, and have made it. When I explain the situation to them, their surprise is striking, as they realize they had only scratched the surface, and that reality is actually a lot crueler towards women than they thought. That they quickly become a strong supporter of the cause. The current pool of talented women in the business force with business skills, experience, and education far exceeds their representation at the highest levels. In an attempt to bridge that gap, I have founded in 2010 a non-for-profit to encourage women to develop their leadership, advance their career, and access board seats. Our team is composed of both men and women who strive to encourage women to be more empowered, visible, and self-confident. We sensitize corporations to the importance of parity and the positive impact of parity on their financial performance, on their branding, and on their culture. We also support them on policies that they need to put in place in order to reach that parity. We encourage male leaders to sponsor these women and accelerate their career advancement. We collectively reached a level of blatant injustice towards women. It's about time that we collectively put an end to this absurd situation so that we can be proud of the legacy to our future generations. I know I want to make the little girl who was angry and disappointed in a bomb shelter in Beirut proud of the woman that I have become, standing for what she believes in and empowering other women to do the same. Together, our voices will be heard. Ensemble, nos voix seront entendues. Je vous remercie.